Okay, my next senior award goes to Maddy Bene. And next year, Maddy is going to SIUE, and you are majoring in biological sciences, specializing in medical sciences, or basically like a pre med track. Um, and so far, scholarships that you've listed is that you've received the SIUE Cougar Pride Scholarship and the SIUE Housing Scholarship. Listing your 5 favorite memories. One is high fives with Mr. Kramer. Now, those of you guys who don't know, you have to know Mr. Kramer does like a really weird high five, and it's really kind of funny. So you one person here, and this side is Kramer. So when you come here, then Kramer goes like this as a release, and so it's kind of a weird high five. I don't know when he started that, or but it's kind of one of his things, and I think he probably does that with Bene, with Maddy quite a bit. The other, and yeah, this was really cool. You playing the piccolo solo on Council Oak, and it's funny that Council Oak piece. Mr. Kramer had played that, and it was kind of one of his master's study pieces. So when we were kind of talking about music and things to play last year, we were like, hey, well, why don't we take a look at that Council Oak? It was kind of tough, but I said, yeah, I think maybe the band can play it, and so it was kind of a big piece, and especially a piece that Mr. Kramer knew really well. So it worked well for you guys. You did a great job on that piccolo solo. And your next memory you listed here is pep talks with Mr. Kramer. So I know everybody needs a pep talk. So it's good. You'd kind of confide in Kramer and hey, Mr. Kramer, what do you think? And then also being special too that you come in and ask his opinion. So that is special as well. Yeah, so jumping pictures everywhere you went in Albuquerque, and I think I remember seeing some of those with Carter and Crystal and all those. And the one that I do remember is like you guys are near this body of water, and and it's fun. It's so I don't know if I can jump anymore, but if I could jump anymore, I would probably take the picture with you all. And then lastly, you wrote down here going to MMEA was one of your special memories. And the other thing too, which is kind of special about that, of you going there and playing, is I remember talking to your mom, and when your mom was in high school, in a high school band, her band that she was in was selected to go to MMEA and play. So how special is that? And also your brother, I believe, was in band when we played at MMEA as well. So having 3 of you guys in your family, all involved in music, all involved in a band program, and then having that experience is it's really special and priceless. Some things that I wanted to, some thoughts on you, and some things I wanted to talk about with you. Well, first off, I remember the first time I met you, and we were taking the band to Disney, and I believe you were in 8th grade. And then I remember opening up if the parents or the siblings of kids who were going in the band, and any of the parents who chaperoned, if they had a younger sibling that wanted to take, they would. And I remember your mom saying, hey, do you think I could take Maddy? She's in 8th grade. She's really mature. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then, I just remember you going and having a great time. And I just, remember that being kind of a special thing. And then also, too, you were taking lessons from my wife. And, I remember asking questions about you to my wife. And she said, yeah, you're gonna like Maddy. She's going to do really well in high school. She's a good player. She's real focused. And you didn't disappoint. So some things that I remember about you, and will always remember about you, is you leading the flutes. You working the flutes and working the flutes to be the best they can be. You're an outstanding flute player yourself. You're an outstanding leader, and people always can depend on you, and I can depend on you to get the job done. One of the things that Mr. Kennison, when he was my band director at Melville and I taught with him, I was his assistant for 14 years, that he would say to me about leadership, and this was when my first few years of teaching, and he would say, sometimes, and he'd say, Brown, sometimes you have to love them enough to let them hate you, as long as what you know you're doing is right. And that's part of leadership, and that's part of pushing people beyond what their natural momentum will allow. And sometimes when you're pushing people, they may not like you. Sometimes they might get mad at you. And in that environment, our flutes were a good section, but there were a lot of them, and they needed a push. They needed things to move them forward, and you were always willing to do that. And I'm always indebted and always appreciate you. One of the other things about you that I always love is how much you love my jokes. Go ahead, roll your eyes. And that's pretty much what you do in band, because I always tend to find a way to make a joke. Now, I know that you can handle it, because knowing your brother, he came through the band program. Your brother is always quick-witted. Also knowing your dad and your mom, and they are all very quick-witted. So, I always tend to single you out and find you, and always use you as a barometer on if a joke is really good or not. Now, a lot of times you lie to me when I say, "Oh, did you like that joke, Maddy?" And you go, "Oh yeah, Brown, it was really great." And totally dry, totally deadpan, and I'm not gonna lie to you, that is totally your dad. So one of the other things that I'm gonna always remember about you is that I said something to you one time earlier in the year, and I said, "Hey, Bene," I said, "I'm gonna miss you next year." And you said, "No, you're not, Brown. You're gonna miss my mom. She's the band president. You're gonna miss her." And I said, "No, I'm gonna miss you." And so we kind of had this whole little, kind of pseudo-serious, kind of pseudo-joking exchange. But I'm just going to set the record straight for you right now here, Bene. I am going to miss you. I'm going to miss your wit. I'm going to miss your musicianship. I'm going to miss your leadership. I'm going to miss the dedication that you have for the program and for the people in the program. And I'm going to miss your passion. I'm going to miss that sense about you that you want to do what's right. And, those are things I'm going to miss about you. And I think at that moment, at that time, it was probably a deeper conversation that you wanted to have. Once again, I think you were testing your wit with me. No, you're not, Brown. And just to set the record straight, Bene, I am going to miss you next year. And what you've done for us, I'm very appreciative, and I'm very proud of what you've done for us. So thank you for everything you've done. And your award is going to be the Director's Award for Outstanding Leadership. So congratulations. Thank you, Bene.